Okay.
Today is Saturday, September 15th, 2018. It's 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, and I was behind the scenes, as they say, with my Friendicator, although a lot of people in the status quo world would refer to him as a mentor. But he's not a mentor. He's my friend who just helps me navigate life in this world, as I do for him as well. And right now, I am about to reply back in voice to you, Lori, from a bunch of messages that you sent me yesterday in Facebook. But before I do, I just want to say that this is not just for you, Lori, because hopefully you will bless me by allowing me to share this with others so that they can be blessed by what you shared with me and what I'm going to share back with you. And hopefully a further exchange will take place. And by the way, that's my son in the background for anybody present or future who will listen to this. He's on the autism spectrum and he's nonverbal. So, but he does make noise. So, with that, I just want to say that what I'm about to do, which is read through what you wrote to me, Lori, yesterday, which was your thoughts about my issue of life that I was speaking about out loud publicly on our show Thursday evening. The way that I'm going to unpack this for you is my superpower. I'm going to blab you. And blab is also known as hashtag blab with a 2 in the middle. And while that may sound cryptic to most, and cryptic really is nothing more than you don't know what you don't know. So I'm going to help you to know. Blab is body language 2.0 and beyond. It is the things that people say and do online. It's all aspects of your body, not just your limbs. It's how you move your body, but it's also how you speak, your tone, your pitch, all that. What you say, what you don't say. The 2.0 part is all the online stuff. And so many of us connect now through social media, having never met belly to belly offline. And many relationships that exist now on social media, I would say probably, if it's not already friends and family that you're connected with in your maybe local area friends, I'd say probably 98% of the people on your list of friends you will likely never meet offline. And so that's why this body language 2.0 and beyond is so critical and why it's so important to me to pave the way for others to learn about this, because this is where the future is headed. We're already there. And so I say, how to read other people on social media truly is my superpower. And I knew from when I was really little, maybe 7 ish, when I would go to the mall with grandma and grandpa or go to a restaurant with the family. Quiet on the set. Shh. I would observe people. I was very much shy and wanting to remain hidden because I didn't have confidence even at 7. And I was an only child, so I didn't have any siblings to play with. So I would just observe how other people behaved. And I had my thoughts about that. And I don't know, God just put something inside of me. And I never really learned how I was going to use that superpower until I met Roy and started live streaming. And I believe that this is the superpower I'm supposed to use to help a great many people. And since you sent me, Lori, those messages yesterday, there's no time like the present to start with you, because I do see you as my friend. And I believe that you love me because you reached out to me with your thoughts, with your concerns. And I believe it came from a place of love. And I don't believe that you believe that I was going to receive it that way based on some of the things that you said. And we're going to cover that paragraph by paragraph, if not sentence by sentence. But before we do, if I can remember, oh my gosh, it's been a minute. I'm going to first share Matthew 10:8 with you, because I want this to be top of mind for you as you listen to me talk through the rest of this audio, and everyone else, not just Lori, because this is very important. Jesus commanded his followers to spread the good news of the kingdom to everyone who wanted to hear. I have a message that I need to get out into the world. And I believe this message came to me from Jesus through Roy. And so for those people who wonder why I'm partnered with that voice guy, Roy Montero, this is the reason, because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Lord sent Roy to me, not just to help me navigate my personal issues of life, but all issues of life, because life is life. Whether it's personal or business or anything in between. And through the work that we're going to do, I believe that more people will embrace Jesus as their Lord and Savior. Because what we're doing, we're molding people into the image of Jesus and not of the status quo. The only thing is, we're doing it in such a way that they don't even know, really. It's not like we're going up to them with a Bible and like making them read scripture. We're just sharing the good word with them in a way that nobody's ever done before. And after my mom died, I realized even more that this is something that I need to do, because I don't want other people to be in the position my mom was in, where I don't even know if she believed in God. And so this is more important to me now than ever before, because now I have experience to draw from. And so anybody who looks at the work that we're doing as being some kind of hobby, or I don't know, just something to pass the time. They're looking at what we're doing through a very incorrect lens. And that's why it's so important for me to respond back to what you wrote to me yesterday, Lori, in a way that maybe you've never heard it before. Maybe you've never perceived this from me or Roy or us collectively through our show before. And so your reaching out to me was an opportunity was an opportunity for me to better explain what we're doing and why, more importantly, we do what we do and why I'm doing it with that Roy guy over there. So I don't know if I'm sharing my screen correctly. So let's see. There was another thing I wanted to. Let me just share my whole screen. That would probably make more sense. Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Roy shared this with me, Jeremiah 1:5, when we were talking before. And I thought I need to share this with Lori because I believe that this will speak to you so that you can better understand who I am and why I do what I do. The Lord gave me a gift that makes me so different from everybody else. And I knew this at an early age, and I couldn't quite put it into words what made me feel so different from everybody else. And I think the difference is that even though I couldn't quite explain why I felt this way, I embraced it. I embraced that difference that I felt from everybody else. I recognized that that thing that God put in me when He formed me. At first, when you're a kid, you look at your peers. The devil wants you to think that you need to be just like all those little kids sitting next to you. And when you recognize that you are different from little Johnny and Susie and Brian and James and Jennifer and all those other kids. At some point, you can't fight it anymore. You realize that it's better to stand out than to blend in because you're going to be so much better off in the long run. And as an adult, I have to remind myself about that every single day. I do embrace the fact that I am so different from everybody else. And it's not just since I met Roy that I had that awareness. It's just that having that awareness for so long and then meeting Roy allowed me to recognize as soon as he entered my life that I was meant to be doing this with him, impacting other people on a grand scale, not on a small scale. I don't want to do as everybody else is doing in this world. It may get them where they need to be. But my question to those people is, what is happening for them in the process? Are they just going through the motions on autopilot to get to their level of success that they see for themselves? Or are they truly learning something on their journey? Are they better people in this world because of going through the process? Or do they just see themselves as being a better person because they've achieved a certain level of success? So, I bring you to the messages that we exchanged yesterday. Although it was, I think, I only sent you 2 messages. So yesterday, Friday, the 14th of September, 2018, at 3:02 p.m. Eastern, Lori, you sent me these messages after having thought about the prior night's show that Roy and I did. We were the only ones in a seat, and you and Jeff and some other people had joined in the live studio audience in text, in the chat. And occasionally I'll have to shh my child because I can't think. You said that you were echoing what you heard me say the prior night, that I felt like no one could pinpoint how I've helped them, because the topic of the show was, what problem does April 2.0 solve and for whom? And I was asking people who were there, like Dale and Kat and you and Jeff and some new people that may not know me very well, what problem have I solved for them since they joined the show quite often?
Me.
Yes.
Could you full screen and Control++? Thank you.
There. So, by the way, you know what? So I have to address this. It's not to give Roy permission to to come back in and join the conversation unless he really, really feels moved to do so. But sometimes I go, I feel a little weird that, people feel weird that Roy is so, a part of everything that I do, because people don't understand that. But you know what? This is part of what we're doing together. And he produces, just like Jeff produces for you, Lori. It's just that we do things differently. And so, yes, I have Roy in my ear, listening to my every word right now. And he's a part of all of this. So he's not excluded from the conversation, because that's just not how we roll. People might think, gosh, you can't even have like a private conversation anymore because she tells Roy everything. Why shouldn't I tell Roy everything? Because two are better than one. And I know that what I'm struggling with, or when I see opportunity to make an impact in a huge way, I want him to be a part of it. And while I don't know, I'm guessing Lori may not see the fruit in that as it relates to the messages that she sent me, but I do, and this is who I am. And just because somebody may think it's not a good idea for me to share their message with another person, guess what? People do it every day, whether you know it or not. Private messenger is just as private as the person who you send it to wants it to be, really. And since this was related to the show from the night before, I shared this with Roy to vent to him, to bounce off of him, to get his feedback. And not only that, but to hear what he's hearing from God. Is what he's hearing the same thing that I'm hearing? And how do we turn this into something that can be such an amazingly good thing for so many other people? That's always how I'm thinking. That is what makes me special. So, back to this. Shh. He seems so much louder than usual. I don't know why. So it's not that I can't, or it's not that I feel that no one can pinpoint how I've helped them. It's that no one is telling me how I've helped them. Except for maybe some generic things that don't help me really identify how other people see my superpower. Shh, Morgan, please. Oh my goodness. When I hear things like that, I'm a great listener, that doesn't tell me how I've helped that other person. Are you saying that you have transformed because I listened to you? Are you saying that you felt less of a heaviness after I listened? Like, just to leave that one word out there hanging doesn't really tell me anything. And yes, I know who I am, and I know my shining qualities. I do. I just don't know how that has translated to other people. And I believe we all want feedback. And if you say that you don't want feedback from another human being, I will say you have got to be lying. You just don't want to say that out loud. So you go on to say that we don't solve anyone's problems for them. And you believe that's why I'm not getting the answers that I'm seeking, is because we don't actually solve anyone's problems for them. And while I believe that's true, my unpacking of that is we don't physically solve other people's problems. We don't have a wand. We don't go to some, well, you could. I mean, you could go to somebody else's house and like unclog their toilet. So maybe you could solve that problem. But when it comes to mindset and solving problems, no, we can't physically be the solution for that person, but we can be the help that they need to solve their problem. We can give them the solution, but ultimately they have to do the work, whether it's physically to do something to achieve something or just to work on adjusting their mindset. And then you shared with me that we merely water their flowers so they can mature on their own. And you said that's what I do. And I agree. I pour into people. I listen. The way this is how I water their flowers. I listen to them. I ask them questions. I look at them intently so that they know they have my attention when they're sharing something deep. Other than that, I don't know how I'm watering their flowers. I'd like to know. I think that's the key. We all water people's flowers. The question is, how are they receiving that? What does that look like for them when they are blooming because of the watering that we're doing? So you said you water gardens and you help people along their journey to feel good about themselves. How am I helping them though? In what way am I helping them? That's what I want to know. That's the burning question, the $1 million question. And are they feeling good about themselves? When I do a show, do you, Lori, or whoever's listening to this, when you walk away from my show, are you feeling good? Were you feeling good before you got there? And now maybe you're just feeling a little bit better? And if so, do you know why? Because most people can't even tell you why they feel better, why they were inspired. They can't even tell you. They just can't put it into words. And that's what I want to help people with. I want to help people to become clear on why they do what they do and why they think what they think. Because this is a bad habit that a lot of people have when they're just in autopilot mode. And you said that I help people to feel good about the direction that they're headed. I don't know that that's true. That's the confirmation I'm looking for. Because really that's just an assumption. And unless you surveyed the people in our live studio audience, or you've had a conversation with them behind the scenes and you have received confirmation that I'm helping them with that, then I don't know that I'm helping them with that. Or maybe you're speaking from your perspective and that I've helped you with the direction that you're headed, which I'll buy that. And you said that is my beautiful gift. And so if all of that were true, let's just say that all of that's true, what you said, and that there are people who will corroborate that story. Then I want their testimonials. That's the other thing that I'm seeking. Testimonials, because the way that we were all put together on this earth, well, the status quo anyway, sees that when one person does something, another person may look in and go, what's that one person doing? But when two people are peeking in, and getting something out of what you're doing, and they give testimonials, maybe 2 more people will look, maybe 3 or 4 will look and peek and go, oh wait, now there's 2 people there. 2 people are giving testimony. Wow, what are they got going on over there? It's a domino effect. Maybe we should call this the net friending domino effect. I want what we're doing, Lori, and y'all out there listening, I want what we are doing to be contagious in a good, positive, healthy way. I want people to look at our environment as the feel-good place to be. I want other people to feel and experience everything and more that I experienced in the last 2.5 years on my journey. And before I turn this into an hour-long event, because I could go on and on, you said none of us fixes anyone else's problems. That's why no one can tell you exactly what you've done. I disagree. They can, they just don't want to, because of whatever reason they have for not wanting to tell. I'm not them, so I don't know. I can only guess. Sometimes people are experiencing an issue of life and they're too ashamed to share that with somebody else. And maybe especially me, because a lot of people see me as being now so confident that they, by sharing things with me, may make themselves feel a little inferior, maybe. And so maybe I have helped them with an issue they're having, but maybe they're just too embarrassed or what have you to tell me, too ashamed. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe they're even ashamed to say that the net friending way has helped them, because there's so many people out there already who look at what we're doing as being icky because we're doing it differently. But they're looking at it through the lens of the status quo. I believe that there's many people out there who are watching our show silently because they absolutely love our message. They just don't want other people to know that they love our message. I absolutely believe that with all of my heart and every fiber of my being. Because there's too many people out there who are too concerned about what everybody else thinks. And so they're going to miss out on opportunities to walk side by side with us on this journey for this huge vision that God has for us, this mission. They're going to miss out because they're too busy looking around them at what everybody else thinks and going, oh yeah, I'm not going to step in that net friending pool, because what will Billy Joe Bob think? And what will Sally Joe think? And all them other peeps. I will be shunned from the live streaming community. Can't do that. My reputation will be tarnished. Well, how about instead of thinking about your reputation, you think about your character? Because it's your character that's going to draw other people to you. It's going to draw the right people to you. Oh my gosh, we're still only on the first paragraph. And I have to stop and say this because I hear the sound of my own voice. I'm going to blab myself, Lori. I don't want you to think anything about how I received your message other than listening to the words coming out of my mouth, because what you may be hearing right now, you may discern as, I don't know, maybe there's a terseness in my voice, or You might hear something and because of your fear that I'm going to receive this the wrong way, you may say, "Oh my gosh, the sound of her voice, is she upset with me? Is she blank with me?" No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just very passionate about why I was put on planet Earth. And I cannot, no matter who it is, even the people closest to me, even my own father, I cannot walk on eggshells with any other person anymore to provide it to provide an environment that allows somebody else to feel comfortable, that then in turn makes me feel uncomfortable because I am not true to who I am. So I have to get all of this out. I'm passionate about all of this. And it just so happens that you, Lori, are the one who gets to hear this in a way that I've never shared it before. And I hope that you see that as a blessing and nothing else but a blessing. Because if there's anybody who I believe will receive my message in that light, I believe it's you. I told you I loved what you shared because I did. I loved how you talked about watering other people's flowers and maturing, and I loved the imagery that you described in that, and I believe that that's all true. I just don't have confirmation of it all. As far as how other people are receiving that watering that I do. So that's my summation of that. Here, you said, I just want to point out that you started off talking about like the problem that I was asking, what problem do I solve for others? But then I feel like this is my blab of you, Lori. This is the beyond part, because the first part made sense to me. You were thinking about the show from the night before and why people are not, coming forward to answer my question. So that made sense to me. But then the beyond part is like, you can confirm or deny. See, this is where I'm walking on eggshells now, because I'm thinking, oh, how do I say this so that Lori's but I know I can't hurt your feelings unless you give me permission to. All I can do is just tell you what I'm thinking. And listen, I'm either going to think it in my mind or I'm going to say it out loud, but you can't stop me from thinking it, right? So you may as well hear it out loud so that we could talk it out and so that we can both be blessed from the outcome of the conversation. And others can be too. This part here, I feel like this is stuff you've been thinking and feeling and holding back. And now you found this as the perfect opportunity to come clean, as the world would say, right? Because I'm pretty sure that Thursday night show was not the first time I've said what others perceive as negative. Or maybe it's not others. It could just be that you see it that way. I don't know. See how I am? Making assumptions? We all do it. You said, I don't think you should be saying negative things about yourself on your show. I don't think. Are you sure? Because you didn't say you should not be saying negative things about yourself. You said, I don't think, which really, the way you said that, now that I'm looking at it again, that was putting in I don't think is supposed to soften the blow for me, right? Is that why you put it in there? because I can almost hear you in my head going, April, I don't think you should be. And there's that in your voice. I don't think that's a good idea, April. There's a little hesitation for you to say it. And that's why you threw in the I don't think. But that aside, who decides what's negative? Because your perspective is to see what I shared as negative. And I see it all as a positive. Even if the words that came out of my mouth on the show were things that, if you're saying it was negative, because I don't even know exactly what you're referring to, so I have to infer some things here. And if I said something like, maybe Roy gave me a sincere compliment about something, let's just say, and I said, no, that's not true. I'm not good at that. And maybe you all in the live studio audience were like, what is she, crazy? Of course she's good at that. Why is she being so negative? I'm just reporting the news as I see it, that I am in disagreement with that thing that other people think I am doing or capable of, and I'm just disagreeing. If this is about, this is, I wish you would have given me an example for this so that I could be very specific in my response on this. Because I don't remember. I'd have to go back to the replay because I think I know what you're talking about, but it's very vague in my head because it was like 2 days ago. Yeah, this whole piece is like very vague to me because I don't know what you're pointing to. You said because I know that might be how you feel, but you've already proven to everyone who knows you. And by the way, I don't know how you, I don't know. This whole paragraph is very it's just very out there for me because I don't know what you're talking about. So I can't really speak to it. But just know that when we use words like negative and how someone sees themselves, there's a lot of opinion in all of that. And overall, speaking overall, I can tell you this, that never mind. I'm going to address this in another paragraph. This part right here needs some clarification before we can take this further. So what would have been helpful is if you would have given me a timestamp of something that I said, and then we could have like talked on that point, but you didn't. And now you know. You said I feel you have a gift to lift people up. So portray yourself strong until you actually feel strong. I don't know if I'm lifting people up. I know that's my intent, but is my intent transferring to other people? That's what I want to know. I haven't surveyed that. Well, I do survey them. They just don't respond back to me. Right? It isn't like in the business world. Don't they send out, doesn't Be Live send out surveys? Like how are we doing? How's like, are you liking the platform? How many days a week do you use our platform? What are the results you're getting? This is how we do. It's no different in any aspect of your life. You want feedback. You want to know if if the people you're serving are actually being served in the way that you intend. It's just nice for me to have that. Do I need it? Do I need it? I don't know. Do I need it? I'm still going to do as I do until God tells me stop doing that. That thing that you're doing is wrong, April. It's not yielding you results. Okay. So I guess I just answered my own question. No, I don't need the feedback, but it is nice to hear it, which is exactly why we do what we do and we give people sincere compliments. We don't do it to get views. We do it because somebody's name has crossed our mind and we remember them for something great that they did and we want to shout them out. And people love hearing that because it makes them feel good. And so maybe, just maybe, I want to know that I've helped someone because it will allow me to feel good. And you said portray yourself strong. Why? Why? Why do I need to do that? If you can give me a really good why, which I don't believe you can, of why I should portray myself in a way that I am not seeing myself in that moment. Why? What does my point be in doing that? Because maybe we're not in a like maybe this is something that you have not yet come to know about me because of, I don't know, any number of reasons why you haven't realized this about me yet. But the very thing that draws people to me, that helps people really relate to me, is the fact that I just allow myself to be who I am every single time I go live. This is what I want to role model for other people. I don't want everybody who does live streaming to always show up strong, even when they don't feel like it, because then they're wearing a mask. And that's the exact opposite of what we frienducate about. Do not show up wearing a mask because you will attract the wrong people. Not everybody needs to see and feel my strength. Sometimes people need to see and feel my sadness. Sometimes people need to show up and see and feel my struggle because that makes me relatable to them. That makes me approachable for them because then they don't feel inferior to me. They know I'm struggling with issues of life just like they are. You said fake it till you make it. I don't want to fake anything. That's a mask. That is a mask. And that's why Roy hates that saying. And that's why we say, act as if. Because you're not faking it. You're not being false. You're changing your mindset. You're owning a new way of believing, a new way of thinking. You're assimilating it into your life until it becomes a habit, whatever that thing is. And so I told you in different words what I just said, that it is part of my journey and me venting and talking it out. It's part of the process. It's part of the process, Lori. It's, there's reality shows on regular TV 1.0, where there's cameras showing you people's lives in action in real time. Well, it's not really. It's in real time when it's being filmed. But then they go back and they edit it. I don't want my life edited. Think of all the people that put YouTube videos out there, right? They take real like live footage and then they cut parts out. They're having to physically do that. But what I feel like you're asking me to do is to do that same thing, but to do it live, to, in my mind, since we're live and we can't go back and we could go back and edit it, but you can't edit live what's happening in real time. So you're asking me to edit my words and how I'm showing up before that even happens. And if I do that, people don't get to see the process that I'm going through. That's what makes this real TV. Real reality TV. This is what's going to help people to actually transform and not just walk away being inspired. People get to witness the struggle. They get to see the hurdles and how to navigate them. And then they get to see what it looks like when you come out of it on the other side. That's what I mean by process. They get to see me going from caterpillar to butterfly right before their very eyes. And that's why I want to be fully transparent. Fully transparent. Because others need to see exactly what I'm going through and the steps that I took to get there. And then, out of nowhere, if I had to blab you on this, which I'm going to, this part about pointers for live streaming. I know, again, I feel like I have to preface this with, I know that this is coming from you to me from a place of love with the knowledge that you've received from Jeff. But, okay, wait, no, I don't want to wipe that out because I know what I know. I know this comes from your heart to do good for me. And while all of that may be true, the way that Jeff and yourself and many others live stream is not the way that we live stream. And I know you wanted to share this with me because you think that the way that we're doing what we're doing is the reason why we're not getting the results that we are seeking. And you may not even be aware of what the results are that we're seeking. Otherwise, I think that this message from you would have been so very different. Because we are not about numbers. We are not about how many views. Yes, I get excited when it's oh, look, we got 1,000 views. Because sometimes my status quo mind kicks in when it shouldn't be. Because really, at the end of the day, I want to know how many of those 1,000 people helped me on my journey. How many of those 1,000 people said, "Hey, April, what can I do to help you with your movement? Hey, April, you've changed my life with that one thing that you said about an hour ago. Hey, April, I need your help with something I'm working on. How can you serve me?" Some kind of engagement with people who are actually taking action. Otherwise, 1,000 views on a video is just a number. It didn't help me. It doesn't tell me who was helped by me. It doesn't tell me anything. And people get so caught up in these numbers. And it's the exact thing that we're talking about on our shows about don't get caught up in the numbers. I would rather have 5 highly engaged, motivated people than to have 1,000 people watch my video for 3 seconds. And honestly, if you look at the statistics on your videos, even the 30-minute videos, people aren't watching for more than a few seconds because those aren't the right people for you. They come, they peek in, they leave. They come, they peek in, they leave. Maybe if you catch them on a different day, they'll hang around for 60 seconds more because they weren't in the middle of being spit up on by their baby while they were feeding them. I don't know. You said that Jeff told you never let there be any dead air time. Never? Ever? Because I have to disagree with the never part. If you start your show and you're not in your chair and there's like dead air at the very, very, very beginning, some people may say that's a bad thing. Especially if you're like not there for 10 minutes, that might be a bad thing. But maybe not, because maybe that would intrigue people. Like, when's that guy coming? When's that girl coming? What's going on? Now you've gotten their curiosity. It's all in the perspective. I get it. I know what he means. People are like sitting on the edge of their seat, waiting for the words to come out of your mouth. But sometimes we need to slow things down. Allow people to chew on something that you've shared with them. Ask them a question, and if there's dead air, maybe they need that dead air time in order to think through the question you just asked them. Maybe that awkward silence is going to help pull that out of them that they may not have shared if you had just kept moving the conversation along. That's all that's style and technique. And what works for one doesn't work for everybody. So you can't say never let there be any dead air time. I disagree with that. And try not to go over 3 to 45 minutes because after, I think you meant 30. Try not to go over 30 to 45 minutes because after 30 minutes, you start losing your audience. Well, how much of your audience are you losing? Do we know? Or is it your whole audience? And does it matter? Because the people who didn't stay, they didn't see value in you. So why would you want them there? That would be my question. Because I can tell you that we've had people stay at our show for the full 2 or 3 hours. That tells me something about who they are in light of what we're doing. They're either for us, and that's why they stayed that long, or they're for what we are for, and that's why they stayed there that long. There can't be any other reason. Except, I don't know, pure entertainment. I guess that could be a third one. Because we're just so hilarious. And I don't know, we're just so intriguing to watch and listen to. That could be it. Although I don't know that we're that entertaining that somebody would invest 3 hours. And I'm not exaggerating. We've had people be there the whole entire show. And on average, there's some regulars that stay at least for half the show. And those are the people that I want to focus in on, not the people that are there for 30 minutes and then leave. Because our vision, again, I have to say this, our vision is huge. It is not a cookie cutter thing that you can just put out there and say, okay, you guys, here's how we're doing it. 1, 2, 3, boom. If you want to be part of something that is going to be absolutely life-changing, it's going to change the way you look at social media and the people you follow on social media. if you want that, if you want to be a part of that, you have to invest the time in getting to know what it is that we are doing. Otherwise, you'll never get it. You may get parts of it, but you will never see the entire vision the way that we see it. Because I've been here going through the process, the journey, the entire experience. Roy's word for the year every year is experiential. You must go through the process and experience all of it in order to truly embrace the vision for the net friending movement and understand the impact it will have on a great many people. And that's why I appreciate the people who stay and listen to our shows as long as they do and as often as they do, because they see something and they want to know what it is. They're just not there yet. Maybe they'll get it. Maybe they'll get parts of it. Maybe they'll be able to help us with parts of it. And there's value in doing shows that are longer than 45 minutes because you can repurpose it. Jeff knows that. I think people do the 30 minutes and the 45 minutes because their ego. And I know there's going to be people who hear this that get offended because of people's attention span being so short and social media being so saturated with live streams. People who host shows know just by statistics and odds that their audience is going to dwindle after a certain amount of time. And they don't want to be doing a broadcast after 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours and see one viewer, 2 viewers. That's too much for the ego to take. Too much. But if you have 1 or 2 people there, if you're truly serving God and his people, you will want to speak to those 1 or 2 people that are still there during your second and third and fourth hour of broadcasting. Because you know this, Lori, you may very well be that one person that other person or 2 needs to hear in that very moment, because God has placed those people in front of you for that very reason. You never know whose life you're going to impact. And it's not about the numbers, it's about the people. And people are not traffic, and you do not drive traffic to your website. You drive people to your website through inspiration and transformation. They're not numbers, they're human beings. I said more about that than I thought I was going to say. That was God speaking through me right there, Lori. Just gonna tell you, because I know you're not going to be butthurt by this. Please tell me you're not going to be butthurt by any of this. Not because you know what? If that happens with you, I'm telling you, I'm going to throw my hands up and say I'm done. If Lori doesn't get it, nobody's going to get it.
Wait a second. I have to come in. Lori, listen to me. I know you don't know who I am, and I'm cryptic to you.
Oh my gosh, make it quick because I got to go soon.
Oh, yeah. But I just have to ring the bell for what April just said, because I feel the same way too. I'm going to throw up my hands. If Lori gets butthurt to the point where she runs for the hills, because maybe she might get a little bit butthurt because she might go like, oh my goodness, they're so right. How did I not know this? How did I not see this? And that's okay. If you think that, here's what I would love to hear. It's like, tell us. Because you know what? God's throwing you into the fire with us. Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. Yeah? Yeah. And the fourth one in the fire, you know who that was. And I know where your heart is. No one has seen the net friending movement, the net friending way, the way I see it in my head. That's why I'm cryptic to you. Just believe that you're here for the right reason, and that's not to get butthurt, BUT, and run for the hills. But you guys, I thought we were friends. How could you say this to me? Blah 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 blah, and then run for the hills. I will fold too. Me and April will fold. We'll go to some remote island and then just die in obscurity. Okay, I'm done.
So, I know you. Oh, here, I wanted to touch on this. You said that you find. Oh, you said don't act somber. He told you don't act somber. Act joyful and alive. Again, just reference everything I said previously because it all applies. No acting, no portrayal, no mask. I am who I am. I need to be who God made me to be. I need to just be me at all times. If I meet somebody in person offline, I'm going to be the same person that they see online. Do we all walk around every day joyful and alive in our facial expressions, in our tone of our voice? No, we don't. Well, Roy may, but no, not for me. If that's how Jeff wants to show up, and if that's how you want to show up, I'm not going to ask you to change. But what this tells me is that there are times that Jeff probably shows up on his show feeling a certain way, but he puts out the happy, positive, joyful vibe. And that's, in my opinion, holding back blessings from other people because maybe he should be sharing what he's going through in that moment. It depends on what type of show he's doing. If he's doing a comedy show and it's a comedy act, or he's interviewing somebody about like their business, he's not going to be like, oh man, what happened to me today? I don't know. Maybe he should. All I know is I know you're giving me some tips here, but this in our forum for our vision and what we're doing to act joyful and alive and not somber, that's not gonna, that doesn't fit in with our message. And you said you found that doing and implementing these things, you've had happier guests and better numbers. Well, we already talked about the numbers, so I don't need to address that again because those numbers, I don't know what they mean to you. What does that mean to you, Lori? And how do you know your guests are happier? Do they tell you, oh gosh, Lori, I'm happier now than when I arrived at your show? Or do you just believe from what they say in the text or the smile on their face when they're in a seat next to you? You believe they're happier when they leave than when they arrived. I don't know what that means. You said that God put it in your heart to reach out to me because you couldn't type it fast enough, all that you had to say. And I could feel that when you were doing it. It was like ding, ding, and all these words are coming up on the screen. And I didn't want to give you a quick response to any of this. Like, oh, thank you for sharing all that with me, Lori. Goodbye. You know the status quo person would have done that, right? They wouldn't have like made you this long video, audio, all of it. How many people would have done that, Lori? I don't know. Maybe you're thinking to yourself right now, I wish she hadn't have done that. But I have, and hopefully you will listen to it. You said that you didn't want to see me discouraged. And I'm glad you don't want to see me discouraged because I'm not. And so if you think I am, please know that I'm not. I am encouraged. I'm encouraged just by getting all these messages from you because this excites me. This excites me, Lori, because I know this is going to bless you. My reply to you is going to bless you. I believe that. And I'm going to pray about that as soon as I'm done with this video. You said that I give my all to people that I've just met and don't even know, and that I should feel good about where I'm headed and what I've accomplished thus far. And I am. I am. So if your perspective has been that I'm not feeling that way, then you didn't confirm it with me, because I am. Stand tall and firm and strong. I am strong. Gosh, after what I've been through the last 2.5 years, um, even if I don't show up that way on a show, people know I'm strong because they've listened to my journey. They know what I've been through, and they know what I continue to go through and what I continue to break through, and where I am on the other side of it all. And that's why I have to not wear a mask, and that's why I have to be vulnerable and transparent. And you said that I'm loved by many from what I can see on this end. Well, I don't know. I don't know that that's true, because love is not a feeling. Love is a doing. It's a good doing for the other person all the time. So, do you know who's doing good for me? Like, did you take a survey on that? Because I know that you love me. I know that from the doing that you've done for me. But from your perspective, you don't know for certain that I'm loved by many. I may be loved by a few. Maybe only a few people do good for me. And maybe that's what you were hearing me say the other night when I'm like, gosh, you guys, give me feedback. Do good for me. Love me. And then there's the Roy factor. You said, and to be honest with you, because that tells me that up until this point, you haven't been honest with me, is what I'm hearing you say. This is my blab of you. Please don't get upset with me. Because apparently, Lori, you haven't heard me say you cannot upset me. You cannot hurt my feelings. You can't disappoint me. You can't anything to me. Anything I feel I am responsible for on the other side of what somebody says. You are sharing what's in your heart with me, and all I can do is receive it and respond to it, and that's it. I'm not upset with you. Um, I just want people to know who Roy is in my life, and how much of an impact he's had, and how much of an impact we can both have on other people, because now, instead of just him being strong by himself in helping other people, now he has me. And we just want to bring other people along for this amazing ride, even though it's something that most people find complex. If it's complex, then either there's so many reasons why it could be complex. It's because you're making it complex because you don't really want to hear what he has to say. And so it's easier to just kind of shut it down in your head. Or maybe he talked too fast through something, or maybe it's just not in order and it's hard to follow for you. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you see value in what we're doing and you want to know how you fit in, ask questions. You said, I think he is wonderful and helpful, but that just wipes all that out. Because the part that holds more weight now is what comes after the but. I believe that's where you might be losing people. You were very careful with all of your wording, I believe. I felt like you're tiptoeing around this paragraph related to Roy because you think you can hurt my feelings. You were softening the blow by saying he's a wonderful and helpful person. Do you really believe that? That's my question to you. Is that what you believe, or are you saying that because you think you can hurt my feelings or his? If that's where I'm losing people, so be it. So be it. Because if they don't get Roy, then they're not going to get me. Not for the long run, not overall. No. This is his vision to start with. I just happen to have overlap with his vision 2.5 years ago. And don't apologize that you've said something wrong. There is no wrong. It's how you feel. Embrace it. This is what we're teaching people, Lori. This is going to help you in your life to know that if somebody else can't take your words, receive them, and either embrace it or walk away from it, that's your two choices, right? If I received what you were saying about Roy in a way that I could not deal with, then I would say, Lori, if this is how you feel, I cannot be friends with you. Or I can say, Lori, thank you for sharing that with me. I appreciate your feedback. And now here's my response to it. And then we move on. You have two choices, right? Either accept it or reject it. Choice is yours. So I'm telling you, you said nothing wrong. I just think that your perspective is wrong of Roy. And that's okay. And then you gave me your newbie perspective, and you said it's cryptic to you sometimes. To me, cryptic means that we're hiding something, or that he's hiding something, that there's a hidden message. But really, I think I don't know if that's what you're saying, like that you think that there's something that's being hidden, or if you're saying it's hard to solve for you. I'm not sure what context you meant that in. And you said that you do understand him better after many interactions with him. And that's true for a lot of people, but see, that's the filter. If you're willing to stick around and come back and put in the work and take the time to get to know somebody at their core, that tells me your character. That tells me how much you're going to invest in another human being. And that's why we do what we do. And that's why we do how we do. Because it's all about figuring out the relationship with every person who comes into our show. And we do it quickly. Because you don't have to build relationships the slow way. You don't have to. We're only given X amount of time on planet Earth. Why waste it on walking on eggshells with people? Why waste it figuring people out for 2 years when you can do it in 15 minutes or 30 minutes, depending on who you are? You said, I wonder if people just don't take the time to come back and understand. People. I don't want people. I want the people who matter. I want the people who God has already determined are meant to cross our path. The right people for us and what we're doing. We're not looking to attract every person. So the people who didn't come back and didn't take the time, then that's on them. And we're okay with them being them. This is not for them. And we don't want it to be for them if they don't see it. And you said, I'm saying this as an outsider just coming on the scene. So I understand if it doesn't hold any weight. You're not an outsider to me. And I don't think you are to Roy either. So don't see yourself that way, because then you will treat yourself that way. As far as I'm concerned, until you say otherwise, I consider you an insider, because you are in my inner circle of friends.
Okay, this is so important. I have to come on. Hi, Lori. Hi, everyone that's listening to us blab Lori and blab each other. Listen to me. If you guys don't get this about Roy Montero, you lose. You lose. When I say I want to invest time with you. And I say it to your face by putting you in my inner, inner circle. You can't get any closer to me than if you were in my skin. And a lot of you now say, ew. So, Lori, the way I pour can you go back to the part where it says to be strong and to not show up with all your crying and all your junk in the trunk and all your stinking thinking or whatever people think when I cry? Because I disagree. I think you should be you, Lori, and I think you should let me be me. Because Lori, hey, there's a one-liner for that. Thought it wasn't. I got a one-liner for every issue of life. Here's the secret to having the best interpersonal relationship with anyone. Your mama, your papa, your kids, your siblings, your friends, your coworkers, your boss, whom you hate. Let them be them, and hopefully they will let you be you. And if that's not the relationship you have, come to netfriending. Yes, come to netfriending.com, hashtag netfriending. Netfriending at your nearest website, your nearest Facebook. Go there and listen to the words that are coming out of April's mouth now, because I poured into her 2.5 years. And I'm willing to do that with anybody because I ain't going anywhere. I'm going to do this until I die. Why? Because it's fun. And it's funny and it's fruitful for me to do this every day. People are looking for self-help help. And that's good. I'll never knock it. It's good. But, and I just wipe that out, other people help is great. And over here in the net friending movement, there's only two things. There's good and there's great. When you come here, you're good. And when you've been here a while, we hope that you're great in this area and that area. But you don't have to be great in every area because you're not going to be. You're going to have some weaknesses. Let's celebrate your weaknesses and say, hey, why don't you collaborate with someone who's strong in that area? Like April and me. We're the role model for you guys. Hashtag role model. If you can do what we do and look at somebody's letter to us, this is Lori's love letter to April. Now, Lori, I don't know if you had in mind that, oh, Roy's going to read this, or April's going to tell Roy about this, or, hey, you guys are going to do like a documentation of this because why not? Who can make up, like, you got to like send out content like 3 or 4 times a day to Instagram and to Facebook and stuff. Like, what kind of content can I send? Let's see. I got to create content. No, document what you're already doing in building relationships the net friending way. Send it to us so we can shout it from the rooftops to show people your character, what you're like behind the scenes.
You see how he is? He like delays me from my Olive Garden lunch with my child.
Sorry about that. Go. And see how she is, how she brings me back, all like eggshelly and everything. No, not really. She's pretty blunt these days.
I
April,
am.
sorry.
Yes, no, you're fine. Lori needed to hear that. And
I needed to say that. And
yes.
everybody that wants to get to know me needs to hear that. Because I will pour into you, Lori, like I poured into April. And anybody else who wants that. Okay? And you can be your name 2.0 within 60 days. How's that? Because April did it. Now, if you're not as fast as April or if you're not as slow as April, I get it. Somebody else will have the record. It's like, I went to 2.0 in 3 days. I want to hear you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I think where I was that you do hold weight, probably more so than you even realize. What you say holds weight with me because I know I know where all of this came from.
I know where it comes from too. So I know where it's coming from. That's why, because we can't read your heart, but we can feel your heart. See, we feel Lori's love. Lori, love is not a feeling, love is a doing. Love is a doing for the other person, doing good for the other person all the time. You can feel the love from that person, or you can feel the absence of love from that person, like April did with her mom, but love is not a feeling. And that's what we get from you. We know who loves us, or we know who wants to love us and thinks we're a little cryptic. And I get that. And it's okay, because we will say what you're only thinking simply because you think that when you say it, some butts, buts, will get hurt. See, not anymore for us, because we've outgrown that stage. We say, it's not your fault, Lori. We're not fighting against Lori. Lori's not the one that's bringing us these like messages that we don't want to hear of the negative kind, because who determines what's negative? God does. And so if we're not in line with what he says, and he says, April, be you, Roy, be you, and show up on your show like that and show everybody else like that. Don't be polishing yourself behind the scenes and then come on and go, yeah, hey, here I am. This is the my show. Guys, give me some likes. Yeah, give me some shares. Woo! Love it. Bring those numbers in. You know, the more people that see us, the more people we can help. Okay, I'm sorry. Going back to silent mode.
So, Lori said that she thought it would be good for me to know what new eyes and ears perceive. And I'm glad she said perceive, because
Is perception
perception,
reality, yes or no?
perception, as I was about to say, is not always reality.
It's not reality until you ask the other person. So it's never reality until you ask the other person, who will tell you, yes. Roy, are you arrogant? No. Okay, because most people will think you're arrogant and then believe you're arrogant because that's who they are, and then they'll perceive you that way, which isn't the truth. But then they'll go around telling their friends, and then there goes your reputation. So anybody ask me, do I care about my reputation? How many blanks do you think I care about my reputation? Seriously. And that's the problem. You care about your reputation. So what you do is you align yourself to feel and do like the society wants you to do, so you can fit in and not be yourself. And the enemy loves that, and the Lord doesn't.
Well,
And
wait,
yeah,
since we're being open, I'm not going to say honest, because
we're always honest.
we're always honest. But since we're being open, and since Lori said that her heart's in the right place,
Oh, my nose.
lovely. Since Lori said her heart's in the right place to take what I've said as a friend, and since you just said what you said, it triggered me to say this. Because Lori asked for us to take her likeness off of our stuff, our photos, thumbnails, descriptions related to the Mentality of Sexuality show. I just want to give her some food for thought about that. Because I feel that Lori could make a huge impact in that arena, in that area, in that topic, for women who are out there who are struggling with their sexuality, with their intimacy with their husbands. And because of who Lori and Jeff partnered with, for faith-based, I don't know, stuff, she wanted that removed. They both wanted that, I guess, removed, because those people may not really understand, And so, who are you really serving? Are you serving the status quo? The people who want to do as everybody else does? Or do you want to serve God, who put you on this path to connect with us because you have a message to get out, and we may very well be the right people to get that message out with? But instead, now you're stifling yourself and bending over backwards and twisting yourself into a pretzel to accommodate people who are actually not in alignment with what you're even doing. I just always have to ask, why are you doing what you're doing? And do you know why you are doing what you are doing? And I get it. You know, we all have to put food on the table. But if you're truly going to surrender to God, you have to ask, is the decision that I am making one that God would approve of? Or am I making this decision because I'm using my own brain and this is not God's will for me? This is my own will for myself. Just be true to you. Don't do something that doesn't feel right in your heart. Because if you're questioning it and you say, well, I know I don't agree with those people and, you know, how they see things, but I'm going to align with them, even though it's not in alignment with my heart and with the plan that God has for me. I'm just throwing that out there as food for thought. And since it's now 11:30, I just want to say that Lori said, I thought it would be good for you to know what new eyes and ears perceive. And I want to say, it was good for me, but probably not in the way that you intended, because all of this feedback, I think you felt was good for me in terms of its content, the specifics. But for me, the way I received it from you is that it was good for me because it led us to do this audio and video and unpack it in a way that I hope gives you more clarity about who I am and who Roy is and who we are together and what we're doing and the people that we're meant to serve. And I hope that this also blesses you to know that you can be yourself and say things to me or to him or to both of us, and hopefully to other people out there, in a way that you could just speak your mind and be you and not put on a mask and not tiptoe around us and not walk on eggshells and all of that other stuff. And that we can have a conversation. Because there's too many broken people walking around. They're in a rut. They're stuck. They're depressed. They're alcoholics. They're drug users. They're sex addicts. They're drug traffickers. There's people blowing up schools because they are looking at life incorrectly. And they don't have people in their life to pour into them the way that Roy and I pour into people. And I believe, Lori, that you are one of those people who will pour into other people. I believe that God wants you to join forces with us because of the goodness that he put in you to do it. And that he knows that you with us are stronger. We're stronger together than we are divided. And so if you just, instead of shutting down what may come into your mind as icky, as weird, as contrarian, as untraditional, instead of shutting it down, take a look at it, examine it, pray about it. And maybe you'll walk away not having the same outlook that we do. But maybe parts of it, you'll be like, oh, wow, I didn't have that before. Now this one new bit of information will help me make a new decision about something that will enhance my life. Help me transform so that I can serve the people that I am meant to serve. And you said, I pray this is well received the way my heart intended it to be. So I can say, Lori, your prayer was answered because I receive you with nothing but love in my heart.
Me too.
And on that note,
I would like to leave Lori with one thing. Lori,
yes,
every decision you make, whether quick or slow, whether big, whether little, every decision you make, start with peace, no peace. Ask yourself, do I have peace about doing this? If it's no, don't do it. Do I have peace about not doing this? Follow peace, no peace. And that inner voice, you will depend on it. You will learn to trust it as time goes on. The more truth you know about yourself, the way that April and I are going to be able to help you to say, wow, why did I write that? She's right. Oh my goodness. Because April may not know, but I can count like probably 4 or 5 like aha moments that you're going to have. You're going to go, oh my goodness, that's so true about me. And that's so true. That's why I wrote that. I wanted to soften the, yes, I did. Yes, I did. I didn't even know that. Oh my goodness. Why was I doing this? It's like my unconscious mind just I'm on autopilot. That's all we want you to realize is that I'm on autopilot. And the way to get off of it is to go peace or no peace and to follow it every single time, even if you're wrong, because God will help you to correct that. And your peace, no peace radar will get better and better. Ask April after 2.5 years. It's really good. Lori, I love you. Jeff, I love you if you hear this too, brother. Take good care of our sister. Well, your wife, our sister, meaning me and April. That's all I got. I pray for you guys both.
and on that note, it is Olive Garden time. Actually, it's shower time. So,
Yay! She's gonna go do her weekly thing with her son, where they go out and get doted on by the people at Olive Garden. Not just because April has a special needs son, although that's how it started, but they genuinely love the young man and his character. From what I hear, Mama, is that true, Dad?
true dat. So, Lori, Jeff, I love you both. And just remember there's more than one way to skin a cat.
I'll ring the bell for what I don't know. I'll figure that out later. So, talk about irrelevant. Bye, guys.
It was not irrelevant.
Okay.
I'm just saying that there's more
What's the cat
perspective.
that needs skinning?
There's more than one perspective than your own, and it's worthy of exploring. Is all I'm saying.
Ah, that I get. Okay,
Okay.
that gets a real genuine bell ring from me because now I know what I'm actually hearing.
Yeah. Okay.
Toodles.
Toodles.